Well, it is the most beautiful day here at Motegi, just to the north of Tokyo. Bright sunshine, humidity falling through the course of the day, which is very good news indeed. We're here for the fourth round of the 2023 Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS. We've got a full grid of cars waiting on this circuit. Famously, you can see in the background the old oval circuit, no longer used. We're using the road circuit, which is an absolute cracker. The wind just keeping the temperatures down a bit, and it is a fabulous place to be. The championship is truly poised at the moment. I'll show you the points table in a moment. You'll get to understand. But the breeze, very, very good. Not just to make those flags look pretty, to keep the drivers cool as they assemble. We started at the Chang International Circuit at Buriram in Thailand back in the middle of May. Then we started the first of our 4 rounds in Japan. Fuji and Suzuka ran very smoothly indeed. Motegi just 1 week after Suzuka, and we'll end the Japanese leg for the Japan Cup at Okayama towards the end of August before the season finale at Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. 6 rounds, 12 races, all to be played for at the moment. But I think what we should do is get a summary of what we're looking for here at Motegi from our very own Tom Hornsby, who's been putting his thoughts about all that lies ahead.
The dust has barely settled on Suzuka, but Fanatec GT Asia is back in action here at Motegi, which hosts rounds 7 and 8 less than a week after the championship's last outing. Cars and equipment were packed into their transporters and containers on Sunday evening, arrived at Motegi the next day, were unloaded Tuesday and began testing on Thursday at a circuit that's completely new to most of the non-Japanese teams and drivers. Motegi is best known for its MotoGP races, but it also hosted 13 consecutive kart and IndyCar events up until 2010, right here on its now disused oval. Super GT and Super Formula are both regulars here, but Fanatec GT Asia is the first international visitor since the FIA World Touring Car Championship came in 2017. Motegi is also home to the Honda Collection Hall, an amazing homage to the company's motorsport and automotive history. Formula One, MotoGP, Super GT, IndyCar, Le Mans, and lawnmowers. You name it, and it's probably here. We're using the 4.8 kilometre, 14-turn road course built by Honda in 1997. The track is quite stop-start in nature, features numerous 90-degree and U-turn bends, as well as this particularly tight pit entry. Damage incurred at Suzuka has resulted in Go-Jigen's withdrawal, but otherwise all 33 cars scheduled to enter Motegi have made the 400-kilometre journey northeast to Tochigi Prefecture. Suzuka's Race 1 winner, Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, enjoys a 10-point lead over Prince Abubakar Ibrahim and Luca Stoltz. Klaus Bachler subbed for Alessio Picarillo last time out, but the Belgian is back aboard Absolute Racing's Porsche this weekend. Anthony Liu also worked himself back into title contention with a commanding Race 2 victory. However, he must now serve the maximum 15-second success penalty on Saturday when he's joined by Fabian Schiller. Meanwhile, the Fanatec Japan Cup Drivers' Championship could be decided on Sunday. However, BMW team studies Tomohide Yamaguchi and Seiji Ara would need to win both races whilst relying on their D-Station and Porsche Center Okazaki rivals to non-score. That particular championship within a championship concludes at Okayama in August. But there's nothing to choose between Fanatec China Cup's 2 leading crews, who are tied at the top of the standings. 2 wins at Suzuka moved Wambo and Liu Yi Hongli level on points with Sun Jingzhu and Frankie Cheng Kongfu. So that's Motegi, a hidden gem north of Tokyo where our Japanese teams should have the upper hand initially over their international and factory-supported rivals.
Well, what a fabulous high-up shot looking over the circuit. 14 turns, 4.8 kilometres, and the first part wrapped within that famous oval of which Tom was talking. But then from turn 6 onwards, it snakes around up to the highest point, the hairpin at turn 10, a long drop down to 11, then 12, 13, 14, very tight finish to the lap. But turn 11, I think, is where the overtaking is going to happen on laps other than lap 1. Turn 1 on lap 1, I think, is a sure point for us to assess. But let's look back what happened just a week ago when the series went to Suzuka.
We are racing here in Suzuka for round 5 of the championship. It's very, very close for the front 2, and actually a position lost there for the Audi in 4th position. The Phantom Pro Audi dropping down to 5th position Not a great start also from the number 4 Porsche. It's lost a position to the Mercedes. A bit of contact in the middle, and it's D-Station facing the wrong direction. Oh, just gets clipped by one of the, I think the Porsche 911. Oh, we've got a car, the Lexus is off, and it looks like it might have even hit the Armco barrier. That's a very unusual place to go off. Vutthikorn and Klaus Bachler have taken victory for AS Motorsport by Absolute Racing. The checker flag falls for Kawabata in second position. Watch for the lights when they turn green. We can go racing, and we've got a couple of cars really out of position there, but they seem to be all pretty clean going down towards turn 1. On board with a 555. There's so much traffic ahead of him. Got to be careful though, because it's so easy to throw it off the road. Oh, Jeffrey Lee's done it. Oh, and so is the BMW, following him off in sympathy. So Yamaguchi's going to lose a couple of positions here. Difficult to see through the dust what's happening. There's a little bit of bashing going on. Oh, the car off under the bridge. Who was that went off under the bridge? No, it was the Nissan, and look at that, huge damage to the GTR Nissan. Oh, and the 888 is off. Jeffrey Ibrahim has looped it around. And is he in the gravel there? I think those rear wheels might be in the gravel. We've only got 5 minutes left of this race. Oh, he's got it going again. That's good. We don't go to safety car. Oh, no. That's the number 3 into the back of the number 60. Bian down in 28th position. It's not been a good day. Through the final turn then. Juncadella with amazing first stint, a solid first stint, and Anthony Liu brings the car home with an increased advantage of 10 seconds over Abu Ibrahim. Here comes Abu Ibrahim, the Prince of Johor, getting himself second spot and a podium finish. It's really good for his championship aspirations.
Congratulations.
From Suzuka, what can today, the first of 2 races here, produce for us, but we had real excitement in qualifying. Let's take a look at what happened then. That was only this morning. So let's take a look at the temperature. In fact, we'll go fast into the race. Nearly 29 degrees, so a bit warmer this morning, but track temperature's gone up another 4 degrees, nearly 50 degrees. So that's something to watch. The humidity is rising again. The field at the moment hidden by the supercars at the front, the Bugattis, the Pagani, the Ferraris, and they're now pulling out of the way, and we will have 33 cars down there, and Amy is our presenter, is down with P1 on the grid. Let's go and find out from the Pro crew, from Phantom Pro.
You must be delighted to start from this position. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm ready for this race. Today the race will be very hot, but we are very prepared for this race.
I sense a little bit that you are nervous.
Not really. It's not my first time starting pole, so I'm ready for the race.
What's the strategy?
To try to pull as much lead in the first stint to give my teammate a gap to the behind, and hopefully no safety car, and we have a smooth race.
Perfect. All the best luck to you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move on to P3, another Audi, the car number 11, with Absolute Racing. Andrew Haryanto, he's getting ready at the moment. So let's talk about the car a little bit until he gets into the car. If there was a fashion championship in this championship, I would give it to them. The award goes to them. Look at all these ducks. It just looks so beautiful. It's one of my favorite coloring in this championship. So you're almost ready. Please get into the car. It's okay. Takes a little bit longer. Well, so this weekend we have on P1 Audi, P3 an Audi, and a sandwich on P2 a Porsche. So I will try to get an interview with him as well soon. Just can I ask one question? Is that fine? Or?
Anything.
No, okay. So how likely are you going to land up on the podium?
Oh, I've got no idea. Let's see how James is going to do.
All right, all the best luck to you. This is going to be quite tight. Let's move up to P2 with the to Porsche. All right, we have Jinlong Bao. Hi, so you are starting from front row. What is your strategy? What are you aiming for?
Yeah, now I'm in second. Just keep my pace and finish race and give my car to my teammate. And we can do.
All the best luck to you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy. It's so difficult down on the grid, but I love when you spoke to Andrew Haryanto in that third place Audi. He put all the blame on his teammate, James Yu. James will be doing the second half of this race. 1 hour race, mandatory pit stop around the middle distance between 25 minutes into the race, open for 10 minutes, and after 35 minutes, if you haven't done your driver change, you will be getting penalties. Now, it's largely the AM drivers. Most of these cars are Pro-Am driver lineups. It's the AMs who are starting the race. They will then hand over to their pro teammates. Some of the crews, of course, are we've got 2 crews that are all pro and 6 crews in the GT3 cars that are all AM. Majority, though, are Pro-Am. But so important here to qualify very well indeed. It was really, really tight. And certainly for Phantom Pro Racing, they took pole position. Let's find out how they did that this morning. The early pace was set by the 992 crew, and certainly really good form from Bao Jinlong for Absolute. The Porsches seem to really light up their tyres very early on. Championship leader Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak just out of the back of the shot. They were the drivers putting in the quick laps, but it really was a case of seeing who'd still be there at the end. And 992 Zhao Binlong would take the second fastest time. And it was a real challenge from the number 19 Spirit of FFF racing team Lamborghini. That ended up second fastest as it happens, but unfortunately a 15-place penalty for the grid has dropped that down to 17th on the grid after contact at Fuji a few weeks back, plus 4 behaviour warning points. And through it all came Phantom Pro Racing, their number 29 Audi, driven beautifully by Can Ling. This is one of the 2 cars that has an all-pro lineup, but he didn't put a wheel wrong, but really pushed his Audi out to the edge. A thoroughly well-deserved pole position for him. And then in GT4, it was the battle between 2 cars. This one, Wise Racing with BMW Team Studi, and it just got its nose in front of the Czech shop K-Mania Racing Porsche. It was very tight indeed, but number 50 came out on top, so good news from Masaki Kondo. Now, the moment. 33 cars in all, 31 of them in GT3 and 2 at the back in GT4. This is the AWS Motorsport Porsche, run by Absolute Racing. Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, the Thai racer, he is the championship leader by 10 points. And this time around, he no longer has Klaus Bachler, who stood in last weekend at Suzuka. Alessio Picariello, the Belgian driver, is back. And this is the pairing that's been super, super consistent. Let's find out if that's enough to take the title. 1 win out of 5 races, but almost always on the podium. Great spread of cars among the 31 cars in GT3. 10 different manufacturers. Looking down a little further back, we've got Mercedes galore. We've got 7 Mercedes, we've got 9 Porsches, 4 Audis, 1 Aston Martin, 1 BMW, 4 Ferraris, 1 Honda, 1 Lamborghini, 2 McLarens, and 1 Nissan. 31 in all, plus those 2 cars, both of different manufacturers, a BMW and a Porsche in the GT4 class at the back. But just to reinforce, good, the temperature's fallen very slightly, but it's still 29.3 degrees. That is very warm indeed. 48.1 degrees track temperature, so drivers working their Pirelli tyres best will certainly find some advantage. And uncomfortably for the drivers, that humidity was quite low this morning, but it's crept up to 58%. So, 1 hour of racing, mandatory pit stop between 25 and 35 minutes into the 60 minutes. All the drivers are going to be considering how and when they call their pit stop time. But in most cases, because it's the AM driver and a Pro-Am driver lineup who will be taking the start of the race, they're the ones that set the qualifying positions for this packed grid. They will probably run the shorter section, so maybe just after 25 minutes, when the pit lane is open, they will dive in and hand over to their faster, professional teammates. So looking at the grid, Can Ling on pole, the 29 Phantom Pro Racing Audi. Jinlong Bao alongside Absolute Racing Porsche. Andrew Haryanto, the second of the Audis, in third. And Anthony Liu, so consistent for Craft Bamboo with his Mercedes. Tomidi Yamaguchi showing BMW is going well. Bo Yuan, he's always picking up good results for R&B Racing. And then it really is Porsche country down here. Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, the championship leader in his Porsche, and alongside Hiroaki Nagai for Porsche Center Okazaki. Then Prince Abu Bakar Ibrahim, 2 wins already in his 888 Mercedes, and Wei Lu looking for another top result for R&B Racing in his Porsche. Chris Onchia back in the championship for Phantom Pro Racing, starts 11, and Piti Pirombakti, another tie for Mizawa Racing in his Ferrari. Then Yuki Hu, look for that car coming up for Climax Racing, and likewise sister car of Bingwang Zhu. So 2 Climax Racing cars, the Mercedes on row 7. Row 8, a team that's getting better and better in GT3. Kiyoshi Uchiyama for NK Racing, alongside Jingsu Sun, still looking for some top results for that number 13 Audi. And then Hiroshi Hamaguchi, remember he was 2nd fastest in qualifying, but he's taken a 15th place penalty in his Lamborghini and will line up alongside Tadeo Uematsu. And then Car Guy Racing, they've gone back from the 296 to the 488 Ferrari, hasn't worked for Takeshi Kimura yet. Brian Lee alongside for Hub Auto Racing. Then the 2nd 888 JMR, that's Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim in that Mercedes, and Satoshi Hoshino for the D-Station Racing Aston Martin crew. Jeffrey Lee for Craft Bamboo, again expect him to work his way forward, and Kei Nakanishi will start 24th in the LM course of Ferrari, and behind him the lone Honda in the race, Paul Ip for KCMG, and on we go, Morris Chen. Right down to Yuko Suzuki, the Kreft Motorsport McLaren, Andrew McPherson, this is in the AM class, and Masaki Nishikawa in the 1 Nissan for this weekend. In the 17th and final row, it's GT4, it's Masaki Kano in the Wise Racing BMW, number 50, and alongside Czech Shop Caymania Racing, the Porsche Cayman. So, on the descent from turn 10 down to what will be a definite overtaking point, we're looking at it right now, turn number 11. We're riding on board the Car Guy Racing Ferrari with Takeshi Kimura. Will he still be in his grid position when he gets there? I think there's going to be a lot of place changing. 14 corners and all, we need those 2 GT4 cars to catch up with the back of the pack, and of course the pole sitter is backing it up a bit just to make sure his Phantom Pro Racing Audi isn't left hanging along too long for the rolling start. It's a very tricky one with a very tight turn 14, the final corner. They should be in 2x2 formation, waiting for that Porsche to move up alongside, waiting for Kang Ling to control the start alongside Jin Long Bao. They'll be looking at the lights on the gantry. They're red, they've got to green, a very, very quick flick, and it looks like a perfect start for the Audis from 1st and 3rd. Andrew Harrianto with the Audi with the ducks all over the side, got a bit loose on the curbing, but great start from Kang Ling to lead away from pole position. Andrew Harrianto, the Indonesian driver, making it an Audi 1-2 as he demotes Jin Long Bao, but other drivers looking to make a move. Up we go into turn 3. Someone's been off in the background kicking up the dust, but actually I think we had 33 cars going into turns 1 and 2, and I think we've got 33 out the other end. That is very good news indeed. First 3 remaining where they are, but the driver who's made the best gain is Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak. He was starting from 7th on row 4, and he's already vaulted past. You can see the Team Studi BMW is behind him. He's also got past the driver that started that red and yellow Mercedes. That's Anthony Liu. He started 4th. He's down into 6th position. So the big gain has been championship leader Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, but right now Kang Ling's making good his escape, and Andrew Harrianto, so smiley on the grid, is now super serious in the car. He is pulling away in 2nd place, and then come the 2 Absolute Racing Porsches of tucked in behind, but it's a really good start from pole position. And right now, Kang Ling in the first of those 2 Aquamarine Phantom Pro Racing Audis is getting away from the field. Up to turn 10 they go, the highest point on the circuit. Over the little crest, under the gantry there, and the field will then descend down towards turn 11. But no one is close enough to get a tow from our pole sitter. He's pulling clear. There's clear air between Andrew Harrianto in 2nd place as well. Just starting to sense that a move from the 3rd place Porsche, the red and gold 1992, is starting to shape up, with Jin Long Bao trying his best to keep up with those first 2. Well, Kang Ling looking very, very comfortable. He wasn't challenged at the start. The challenge was for 2nd place, and the challenger, that's car 11, Andrew Harrianto, went from 3rd to 2nd at the cost of Jin Long Bao. In behind him is number 911. Oh, a little bit of a mistake down into turn 1 from Jin Long Bao. Ran in a little bit deep, so 4th is closer to 3rd. And in behind, we're now starting to see Yamaguchi getting closer and closer in the BMW Team Studi M4 GT3. So neat, tidy, exactly what the doctor ordered. Tomohide Yamaguchi trying to catch up. You can see his black BMW just at the back of the picture, but the first two Audis, there was a lot of comment from the drivers. The Audis are very well suited to this circuit with its constant mix of fairly tight corners. They seem to have really, really good balance. In qualifying form, when the pros got on board, it was the Porsches that had the smile on their face because they seemed to get the heat into the tyres just how they wanted. But right now, it's Audi first and second. And what's intriguing to me, Andrew Haryanto was a little down on himself, not suggesting great things when he was down on the grid, but certainly for him and his teammate, for the number 11 crew, I think they can hope for good results in this race because he's not being caught by those two Absolute Racing Porsches. In fact, as they fight together, Bow against Inthraphuvasak, they're letting those first two cars escape, so any extra second advantage that can be gained by those two Audis in first and second will reap dividends. Also, just looking to see who else lost places at the start. Bo Yuan lost a place, car number 87. That's one of the R&B Racing Porsches. That's the one in the dark green metallic livery. But the first 10, fairly much from third place to, NK Racing Porsche has gone for a rotation. That's car number 25. And that was running just out in 14th position at the start of the lap. But unfortunately, Kiyoshi Uchiyama has looped that around. I was just talking about the R&B Racing Porsche. Now that's starting to show increasing form for Bo Yuan. And he's having a really good fight with Anthony Liu. Background of the shot, just behind the BMW that's holding down 5th place. Battle for 6. Looks so we could have a place change. Oh, dearie me, we've suddenly had contact from the two Absolute Racing Porsches. They were in 3rd and 4th positions. Now they're locked together and sitting sideways in the track. Oh dear, that's at turn 3. And the nose bodywork of the other Porsche is hanging off the front. Oh, dearie me, of 992 sitting there. The car that started from the outside of the front row. There's debris in the track there. So Jin Long Bao, in fact, it's his bodywork as well. That's not going to polish out. Let's take a look what happened. Just waiting to find out what happened. Why did those cars clash? They were very close when they went across the start-finish line, but alas, got too close shortly thereafter. So Kang Ling and Andrew Haryanto will be pulling ever further clear, and that 992 Porsche from Absolute Racing is limping back to the pits. Meanwhile, out front, Kang Ling is pulling ever further clear. The number 29 Audi over the crest on the run from turn 10 down to turn 11. Andrew Haryanto very happy and comfortable. Promoted to 3rd and 4th. Oh dear, that's not going to work. That overtaking manoeuvre was never very on. Now, not one, but 2 of the R&B Racing Porsches pushed them down into the gravel at turn 11. I said there'd be overtaking there, but that move was never on, unfortunately. Brake way too late. Chris Onchier realised he's going to hit the Porsches, went on the grass at the apex trying to avoid them, but alas, just couldn't get the braking down. Too ambitious. And for number 4, Wei Lu stuck in the gravel. Nothing he could have done about that. Let's take a look at the replay. 3rd and 4th position, the BMW and the Mercedes coming down the hill. Then side by side, the 2 R&B Racing Porsches. They were having the battle, and really not in the hunt at all, but diving down the inside went Chris Onchier. I feel there may well be some behaviour warning points there because he's taken out not just himself, but 2 of his rivals. So, are we going to have a flag? Debris on the circuit. You can see that was where the 2 Absolute Racing Porsches collided. Jin Long Bao has limped back to the pits. Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak is still out on the circuit. Oh dear, suddenly it's all happening, and a big twitch there from Zhu Bizhuang in the number 2 Climax Racing Mercedes. So you can say on that lap there was quite a gain. Not just the Absolute Racing Porsches going off. Wasn't a good lap for Porsches, but the 2 R&B Racing Porsches. Now, this is the battle for 3rd place. Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak had made a better move. He'd got up into 3rd place. He had been 4th. Then he turned into turn 2, but was given a push and a shove from his teammates. So there was their clash. Bodywork damage. Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak got going the sooner, and then, of course, there was all sorts of movement going on down into turn 11, but it really is a case of everybody else move up a position or 2 Waved yellows, double waved yellows into turn 11. This is the corner where the action happened just one lap ago. So no overtaking, D-Station Racing, Aston Martin tucking back into line. And that number 4 Porsche being dragged away. Good work by the marshals, very quick to get that hooked up and pulled out of the gravel. But it really is the case with 5 cars clashing in the space of a lap, taking out 5 cars from the top 10. It has promoted a lot of others to the points, but who's making the moves? Background of the shot, championship leader, Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak. That move has just moved him up past Jeffrey Lee, so into 14th place. Now, of course, as long as he hasn't got damage, having been hit up the tail by the sister car from Absolute Racing by Jin Long Bao, he's going to hand over as soon as he can to his teammate Alessio Picariello. They want to see how many points they can recoup. Right, next target, easy to spot. It's the number 1 Ferrari, Car Guy Racing. That's Takeshi Kimura. So again, it's about being a little bit patient, choosing the moment. No move made in the first of the 2 underpasses there. And by the way, neglecting to tell you that Kang Ling continues to make good his escape, 4.2 seconds to good. And then Andrea Haryanto very comfortable. It's, oh dear, someone who wasn't comfortable there was Takeshi Kimura into turn 9. That's a 150-degree right-hander. Accelerate up the hill, but he holds on to the position in the Ferrari. Oh, half a sniff of a chance up into turn 10, but Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak is being patient rather than impatient. We've seen impatience doesn't work here. But he'll certainly want to get that red and white 911 Porsche up a place or 2 before he comes to the pit stops. Right, now, yellow flag for a drive-through penalty for car number 2 for causing a collision, but for the Plus Team Studi BMW, that was running in 3rd position, and suddenly for them, their race has fallen away. That's in the pit. The pit stop window is not open as yet. So that will be a pit stop for reasons other than the simple driver change. That was the car that was promoted to 3rd place. So we've still got the Audis in the lead. And for all these other drivers, they've just gained another position with Yamaguchi's BMW sitting in the pits at the moment. Not a standard stop. D-Station Racing, the lone Aston Martin in the race, just turns into turn number 2. That's where the clash was a short while ago. Behind comes Takeshi Kimura, Car Guy Racing. Behind him is the championship leader, Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak. In front of the D-Station Racing Aston Martin is number 55, which is today Uematsu with his McLaren. He's the only driver who does the entirety of the race. He doesn't bother with a teammate. He does the first part of the race and the second. Patience is a virtue, they say. And certainly right now, you can sense that Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak in the 911, the red and white car, is biding his time. He's not going to go for a half chance. Into turn 9 they go. He's going to try and get a better exit and maybe make a move at the top of the hill. But from turn 9 to turn 10 at the top, it's only a fairly short little blast, but it's twice the length as straight as it comes back. Now, can I just remind you, I said that he probably wouldn't make a move into turn 10. Oh, I'm just joking with you. Of course he did. Very neat and tidy, and well done to Takeshi Kimura. He could sense that Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak was a little faster. Now, the next target for the AWS Motorsport Porsche is car 47, the one Aston Martin, the D-Station Racing Aston Martin Vantage. And a stop-and-go penalty, no surprise there, has been issued to car 333. And that was, unfortunately, Chris Onchia who made that fairly over-ambitious move, I think we'll call it, down into turn 11 a few laps ago that took out the R&B Racing Porsches. So he gets a stop-and-go penalty, and the number 2 Climax Racing car had slightly less, a drive-through. With a stop-and-go, you come into the pits, you have to stop and then go again. With a drive-through, you can put the car on the pit speed limiter, and just as long as you don't speed, drive through the pits and out the other end. But punishments are coming. Certainly Alain Adam, the clerk of the course, is looking. The number 5 BMW is back out on the track, but having had the long pit stop, in fact 2 laps down, Hideto Yamaguchi is just going out there for experience rather than points. And I noticed that the treble 3 Audi can't actually serve the stop-and-go penalty because it has parked itself after that clash into turn 11, just at the exit of the corner. But Kang Ling on pole, not challenged on the run to the first corner, pulling further clear. In fact, as I say that, he set the fastest lap of the race a while ago, but the gap is down below 4 seconds because Andrew Haryanto is driving a beautiful race in behind him. You can see the number 11 Audi going over the crest of the hill. Andrew has raced a lot all around the world. He's one of the rare Indonesian drivers to compete at Le Mans, but he's certainly having a really, really good run in second place for Absolute Racing. It's so interesting. These cars have a balance of performance to keep them as close together as they can be, but they can set the idea behind balance of performance is they set a standardized lap. Each manufacturer should be able to achieve it, but they can do it in different ways. And having agility is what the Audi R8 LMS has always had. And some of the other circuits, more wide open, didn't suit them. But right now, fans of all things Audi can be very pleased indeed. Kang Ling leading. Second place, another Audi, Andrew Haryanto. Then a big gap of 6.5 seconds back to Anthony Liu, who's been up and down the order like a yo-yo. He started from 4th on the grid, was soon down to 7th. And as the cars clashed in front of him, he's worked his way back up to 3rd. And with 2 wins in the bag already across the 6 races we've had so far this year in Fanatec GT Asia, Anthony Liu is looking very handy in the points. This will be a big gain for him because with championship leader Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak not yet up into the top 10, only up to 13th place, points are not coming to him in this race, but we've still got the driver change, and those are going to be coming up very soon indeed. There's Andrew Haryanto. And actually, he is closing in all the time. He gained 0.2 of a second on the race leader. He'll be delighted with this run. Kang Ling just doing what he needs to do. But Kang Ling will be handing over to another pro driver. Whereas for Andrew Haryanto, he is the AM, and that's why he's driven so well. He's the AM, and yet he's keeping up very much and even catching the race leader. Now, in the world of GT4, it's very much a case of a battle between 2 cars. Only 3.6 seconds. There they are, both in the same shot. Masaki Kano leading in the number 50 Wise Racing BMW M4 GT4. Masaki Kano, but only by 3 and a bit seconds from car 718 Nehiko Otsuka in the Czech shop K-Mania Racing Porsche. They were much closer than we would have expected in qualifying, and they've stayed very, very close in this race as well. So the first few cars have visited the pits, but for a lot of the people, it's been 2 visits for that poor BMW. They're just waiting for the official opening of the pits. And certainly Czech shop K-Mania Racing have really stepped up to the mark with their Porsche Cayman in GT4 this weekend, much, much closer to the championship leader in terms of pace across the board. So they've got their own scrap, but sometime fairly soon they're about to be caught by the race leaders, and then things become a little trickier. Now riding back on board with Car Guy Racing, and that's Takeshi Kimura. He's been passed quite recently by Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak. You can see Vutthikorn's car just up ahead. And having a look up the inside of the D-Station Racing Aston Martin before they go under the oval circuit for the first of 2 underpasses in the lap. Little mistake for Vutthikorn there because he thought he had half a chance. And often when you make a move like that, you're committed. And then, of course, you suddenly find yourself not on the bit of track he wanted, but he held the front end of the Porsche as it got a little bit loose over the curbing. Well, this will come as no surprise. Another penalty on the board, and you can see the damage on the back of the 911 Porsche, and it was the sister car having just been passed with Bao Jinglong at the wheel. Drive-through penalty for 992. So when good goes to bad or bad goes to worse, and then more contact. Oh dear, and it was the D-Station Racing Aston Martin that's lost 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, and delayed in that moment was Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, and Takeshi Kimura in the bright yellow Car Guy Racing Ferrari said, "I thank you very much," and dived up the order. So he is getting closer and closer to top 10 position. So D-Station Racing Aston Martin in the front of the group, up to turn 10, up the inside. A kiss, a nudge, a rub of the bristles, unfortunately, between those two, and Vutthikorn looks like he's picked up a bit more damage in the car. That's not what he wanted to do, and that will affect the handling for the remainder of this race. It's been quite robust here, I must say. I'm certainly enjoying the action, but some of these cars are not going to be winning beauty contests, it must be said. So just waiting. The pit window is now open, if my maths is good. Not yet open, got ahead of myself. Too excited. 7 more minutes until they'll open. So any car that's been to the pits has been in to have a problem sorted or a drive-through penalty. So still time for this battle to sort itself out. And Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak is still looking and probing. He's already passed the car guy racing Ferrari a while ago up at turn 10. His next attempt at turn 10 did not work. That was against the Aston Martin. And unfortunately for D-Station, who just seemed to be fitted with a bad luck magnet in 2023. They picked up further damage and lost further places in that battle. In fact, they're behind Jeffrey Lee, the back of that pack. The gap between first and second has stabilised at about 3.7 seconds. Yes, every time. Look at the front left corner. That's come loose, the bodywork around the headlight of the 911 Porsche. Look at the right rear corner, and that's tattered and battered from where the sister car, 992 Min Long Jiao, assaulted it at turn 2. So what we have, race leader leading in the silver category is Kang Ling. And looking down to see who's the leading AM runner. And it's Tadeo Uematsu. No, it's not. It's Hiroshi Hamaguchi. We've hardly noticed Hiroshi. He was the driver who put his Lamborghini second fastest on the table in qualifying and then took a 15th-place position. That was him out of the point, surely for the race. But as others have had their trouble, number 19 has worked its way. The only Lamborghini has worked up to 4th overall. That is impressive. And the 87 Porsche we're looking at there is second in the silver class because the race leader is the silver class leader. So lots of classes to look for. The leading Pro-Am is Andrew Haryanto in second overall. So a silver class car leads the race. That's the 29 Audi. There it is. And the last lap was the best lap of the race for Andrew Haryanto. Not as fast as the best lap from the race leader, but what it has done, he's taken 9/10 of a second out of the leader's gap. There was a bit of overtaking, lapping work to be done by the 29 Audi from Phantom Pro Racing. But look, Andrew Haryanto's way closer. 2.8 seconds down, 2.9 seconds, let's call it, between friends on the start-finish line. But then he too got delayed going past the GT4 cars. But I must say, it's been a really, really good run from Andrew Haryanto. And the Audis look very much the tool to have here around the 14 turns and twists of the Motegi circuit. This is the final sequence of corners. Come under the underpass then, turn 12, 13, and the final one, the right-hander onto the start-finish straight. Turn 14, another 4.8 kilometres on the clock, and the race leader, Kang Ling, catches up with the GT4 class leader. What's the gap between first and second, between the number 29 and 11 Audis? It's down to 2.5 seconds. This is great lapping from Andrew Haryanto. He's got his headlights on, but actually up ahead, it's pretty clear track. As long as he can find the space and the place and the right time to get past without delay the GT4 leading BMW, that is what he's looking to do. If he can get it done before the next corner, which is turn 4, before the cars feed under the track, under the old oval track for the first time. Well done from Masaki Kano, keeping out of the way. He's got a different battle to fight. He's leading that battle. That's the battle for GT4. So, car 992, drive-through penalty for causing a collision, and a drive-through penalty which had just been served by the sister car, and we saw the collision. That was with the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. So it had been looking so good after qualifying for Absolute Racing with their Porsche. They're certainly well qualified for race 2 tomorrow, but in this one, with the AM start first and go to the Pro, unfortunately they've had their little battles. A little bit of debris down at turn 2 there from the incident that had the sister car clattering into the back of Vutthikorn's car, and then of course Vutthikorn had his own moment. Another thing we need to look for in these races, and certainly Clark of the Head steward Alain Adam is looking for these track limit warnings. Car 19 has just picked up a warning at turn 14, the final corner of the lap, and that's Hiroshi Hamaguchi, who's worked his way from 17th place up to 4th, set the second fastest lap of the race in his Lamborghini, so that is right on form. Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak with that drive-through penalty has fallen to 20th place. And at the end of the first of the 1 hour of this 1 hour race, points only go from first, which is 25 points, then 18, 15, 12, etc., down to 1 point for 10th. He's not going to get any of those in this race unless Alessio Picariello can pick it up. So Hiroshi Hamaguchi absolutely flying. He's got the Porsche Center Okazaki car of Hiroaki Nagai behind him, and he's heading off after Anthony Liu. The gap between them at the start of the lap was 3.7 seconds. Can 4th become 3rd for Hamaguchi? Bottom of the shot with the GT4 class leader between them is Anthony Liu. The red and yellow Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes, car number 37, is definitely being hunted down. The fastest lap for Hamaguchi in the black, green and orange Spirit of FFF Racing Team Lamborghini is less than 1/10 of a second down on the race's fastest lap. So much as the Audi is nice and nimble around here, there's an awful lot of shared entity under the bodywork of these cars. They look different outside, but both mid-engined and very nimble here. So this is a track that suits a Lamborghini quite plainly, and Hiroshi Hamaguchi has sold into that idea in its entirety. But for Kang Ling, continues to lead the race. The last lap was better for him in traffic. He opened his advantage over fellow Audi racer Andrew Harrianto out to 3 seconds. Around the course this lap, swings and roundabouts between them. One gains in the first sector, the other gets that time back in the second. It's really traffic that is affecting them. And it looks as though the one Nissan in the race is the car immediately up ahead. There it is, car number 360. Run-Up Sports GTR Masaki Nishikawa sharing with that Tsushi Tanaka. Slight delay for the race leader down into turn 1, just wanted to be sure that he'd been seen. Plenty of caution is a good thing to have. 2 more minutes until the pit window will open. It will say open for 10 minutes. And in a lot of these cases, the drivers on board now are the AMS drivers, and they know they get more pace out of their car and maybe gain an advantage if they change over, make their pit stops as soon as they can. Car Guy Racing diving into the pits, followed by several others. Pit window is now open, so they've just squeaked it in, and the crews are ready. They alerted their drivers, come in as soon as you can. But Kang Ling, he's not coming in, he's pressing on. D-Station Racing, they have come in, and that's the driver change from Satoshi Hoshino to Tomonobu Fujii. But this is the car that got given a little bit of an assault up at turn number 10. But for Kang Ling, he was a pro in the first half of this race. He's handing over to a pro teammate, and he doesn't really need to rush in. But it's been a bit of an up and down margin between him and the second Audi in the race. Andrew Harrianto got it down to under 3 seconds. It's now back to 3.3 seconds. But certainly in the case of Car Guy Racing, there'll be the change from Takeshi Kimura, who started, to Kei Cozzolino, should be one that allows Cozzolino, who is the quicker of that duo, to have as much time on board as he possibly can. Kang Ling, neat, tidy, and clearly staying out for at least 1 more lap. It's actually very good when you get drivers not all deciding to come in at the same time, because that would make the pits very busy here indeed. Now, unfortunately for fans of the number 5 entry BMW M Team Studi there, M4 GT3 is back in the pits. It may be out of the race. That had a very early pit stop, but clearly has some mechanical malaise, so very disappointing for them. And Andrew Harrianto, by the way, has just dived into the pit, so he's not continuing around this lap. He's handing over, as soon as he possibly can, the number 11 Audi. And that means James Ukwai is about to take it over. Maybe Andrew was prescient down on the grid when he spoke to Amy Izawa and said that, of course, it's down to what James is going to be doing, but Andrew did his job with real excellence here at Motegi. 14 turns, constant twisting, and the Audi just seems to be on its toes beautifully. Sadly, the other Phantom Pro Audi was the one that was rather too much on its toes down into turn 11, halfway through the opening stint of the race, and he hit one R&B Racing Porsche, which thumped straight into the sister car with an over-ambitious manoeuvre. Was given a stop-and-go penalty, but never made it back to the pit lane, so put a line through that one. There is no rush. The pit window stays open for 10 minutes, and I'd say keep Kangling out there as long as you can, because he's really, really driving very neatly, tidily, and quickly. Still holds the fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 52.743 seconds. And for Phantom Pro Racing, one of the few Chinese teams in the championship, their best result, he shares with Cao Chi, is only a 5th place, and here they are absolutely flying along. Will this be their first win of the year? Will this be the first Audi win of the year? Still plenty of distance to go to that. We're approaching the halfway point of the race, but going great guns at the moment. The Craft Bamboo Racing red and yellow number 37, that was started by Anthony Liu, but this weekend he's got his regular teammate Fabian Schiller back after a race away, and is you can see Schiller, the German racer, just getting the heat in the tyres of number 37, and he's about to be lapped by the car that has yet to come in to serve a pit stop. That is the race leader, Kangling. Ki Chao will be ready to take that over as soon as Kangling brings it in. And all but a handful of cars have come into the pit. Still waiting in the GT4 class for the starting driver, Naohiko Suzuka, to come in his Porsche, but that's fine. Time of plenty. But at the top end, Kangling, Hiroshi Hamaguchi, Tadeo Uematsu, and car 14, haven't spoken too much about that. That's Hub Auto, is their blue Porsche running with GTO. Brian Lee, who's yet to come in. He's moved up to 4th place, but of course when cars ahead of you pit and you don't, you will gain positions. You'll lose them again when you call for your pit stop. But in GT4, it's a great run. Class is being led by Masaki Kano, just looking at his BMW there. That also owes us a pit stop. The fellow charger in the class, Naohiko Otsuka in the Porsche from Czech Shop Kemania Racing, has come in to do the driver change. Now, I suppose this is a point in the race in which we should talk about the extra long pit stops for the top 3 finishers in the previous race. And we saw Fabian Schiller in the yellow and red Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes. That was a much longer pit stop. They had 15 seconds extra to stand still as a penalty success, really. Success ballast in some championships, but here it's a longer pit stop time, minimum pit stop time for them. 15 seconds extra for him, 10 seconds extra to pit stop for the number 88 Mercedes, which now has Lucas Stoltz on board, shares that with Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, and 5 seconds extra for the number 4 R&B Racing Porsche, but that doesn't matter because that was out of the running, pulled out of the gravel down at turn 11 after the assault halfway through the opening stint, when both of the R&B Racing Porsches were given a clatter by the 333 Phantom Racing Audi. So the driver changes having been done. That's James Yu, who's taken over from Andrew Haryanto. No extra time at the pit stop for him, because that car didn't finish in the top 3 last time out. In fact, just double checking, best result for this number 11 Audi from Absolute Racing, a 4th place in the first of the 2 races at Suzuka last weekend. So clearly beginning to hit form, but clearly here is a great place to be an Audi driver. One of the Lamborghinis, the McLaren's coming through the front end of the shot. That's car number 17. That's Kref Motorsports. Masataka Inoue, the wheel of that. That's running at Evo spec for the first time. And in comes our race leader, leaving it just about right. Couldn't have done another lap. Ooh, could just about have come in. You only have to get into the pits with a minimum of 25 minutes remaining. They've done it with, yes, they could have done another lap, but Kangling has done a very neat and tidy job from pole position. And then Cao Qi, fellow Chinese racer, about to take that one over. And of course, we'll be scoring some very good points in the China Cup element. But with the vast majority of this field being Japanese, they're all entered not just for the overall championship, but for the 4 rounds, the 8 races that are run here in Japan for the Japan Cup. We'll come to look at the points later on, possibly after tomorrow's race, but certainly there have been a lot of upsets today with those collisions and drivers being pushed up and down the order, and unfortunately the LM Corsa Ferrari has gone around. I think Shigekatsu Wakisaka, did he jump? Was he pushed? Is anyone else involved? Car number 60, and that had just been taken over, and that's a bizarre place to go off. That is at the turning point for the final corner. He's high in the gravel on the outside of the circuit. It's one of the slowest corners on the track. And that Ferrari is beached. We'll let them now. So just in time, the pit window is still open. In comes the GT4 class leader. And that means everybody has served or at least arrived for their pit stop. So Manabu Maxarido climbs aboard. Masaki Kano helps him in the change. So still trying to get to the foot of how that blue Ferrari ended up high in the gravel, but that looks though its race is run. Marshals have yet to get there. It's a bizarre position to be. I can understand people going out of that tight final corner and putting the power down too soon and spinning even into the pit wall. But that ended up high in the gravel. Oh, dearie me. So debris in the circuit. Is that off the AWS Motorsport Porsche? Did that get involved? Oh, you can see it sitting right in the middle of the start-finish straight. So it's time to call Inspector Clouseau to sort this one out. Well, the driver who started from pole position is Kang Ling, and let's go down because Amy has caught up with the driver who led from pole to the pit stops with Kang Ling.
Great job. You brought the car back safely. You know, there was a lot happening on track.
Yes, I see a lot of debris on the tracks, and I had a good start. In the first few laps, I pulled away a bit, and my tire was overheating a little bit, but I managed the pace, so it was a very good first stint.
You pulled it quite long.
Yeah, at the beginning the pace was really good, and then I was struggling a bit with the tires, but I'm happy about the stint.
Okay, and it looks like you're still P1.
Yes, I hope my teammates can keep the position and we can have a good result.
All right, let's see you on the podium, hopefully.
Thanks.
Back to you.
Well, I think quite possibly they were P1, but number 11 has now moved ahead. The car that was chasing in the first stint of the race, Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. James Yu has moved in front. This is while clearly Cao Qi is just trying to get the balance right and give chase, but it's Audi first, Audi second in the background, that LM Corsa Ferrari being pulled away. Still that debris, some on the start-finish straight, some at the turning point to turn 1. So certainly Kang Ling wasn't wrong about debris in the circuit. There is a clear visual, first and second. Number 11 turning into turn 2. 2 seconds, I reckon. No, 1.5 between them. Turning there, and much as Kang Ling pressed on in the early stint, his teammate Ki Chao is trying to do the same as well. But James Yu is looking very handy indeed. Another Chinese driver trying to make his mark. Won the Sepang 12 Hours at the start of this year. So he's on good form. But the form in the Fanatec GT Asia series hasn't really been that strong for Absolute's Audis. But today they're looking very, very useful indeed. Instead of coming down, the gap is opening out between first and second. But just remember, James Yu has been in the car for several laps, whereas Ki Chao giving chase in the number 29, the Phantom Pro Racing Audi that started on pole position, is just maybe bedding himself in. But yes, it's a clear visual cue. First to second, the gap is stretching over the rise, the crest between turns 10 and turn 11. Down the hill they go. Nice, neat entry line to the right-hander. Getting a little bit of curb, upset the car, unbalanced the race-leading number 11 Audi, but James Yu keeps his foot in there. slides the tail around. The gap was 1.385 seconds between first and second at the end of the last lap. What's it going to be? 2.5 seconds this time, waiting for the interval to come up. Oh, 4.7 seconds. So that's a 3 and a bit second gain. No wonder that Aquamarine Phantom Pro Racing Audi in the background is in the background and getting smaller. So you can imagine on the pit wall, having had a cooling drink, Andrew Haryanto will, actually he's probably not on the pit wall, no, he's in the shade of the garage, will be pinned to the screen. Oh dear. There is a minimum pit stop time. Car number 25, unfortunately, was 1 second under that pit stop time. Well, I just mentioned Andrew Haryanto, and Amy has been like a greyhound in the pit lane, and she has got up and caught with Andrew. Let's find out what he thinks about this race as leader.
Andrew, you look quite happy.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be, no?
Yes, you are. So perfect stint for you, I guess.
It was okay, yeah, made no mistakes, so I handed over the car to James now, which is now doing a very good job. That's
Great. How does the track feel?
fun. Obviously, yeah.
I can sense the excitement. Was there any communication between you and your partner when you switched cars?
No, I think,
You didn't tell him anything?
no, I just wanted to move out of the way as soon as possible, so yeah.
Perfect. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy, and that's a satisfied face, Andrew Haryanto, and Andrew, with his much younger teammate James Yu, really settling in very nicely indeed. The 22-year-old Chinese racer is showing great form here, and the gap between first and second, as I said last time around, he gained more than 3 seconds over Ki Chao. And now, as he comes out of turn 14, I can't even see the Phantom Pro Racing Audi, so it looks like he's gained at least another 3 seconds. There it is in the background of the shot. It's a longish start-finish straight here at Motegi, and the fact he's got almost the entire length of it to his advantage means, oh, he's just set the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 51.770. He's gained just the best part of another 3 seconds. Third place is the Porsche. Yuta Kamimura going through the bottom of the shot, but he's been caught by the car that had the most time in the pits in the pit stop. 15-second success penalty. And Fabian Schiller in that yellow and red Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes is closing in. So they gobbled up that extra time. But for the rest of the race, the hunt is on. Now, this is the view from the Maezawa Racing Ferrari car number 555. And Naoki Yokomitsu needs no introduction in Japanese racing circles. So much experience, and he's on the hunt. He's up in 6th place, and the car he's chasing is not the GT4 BMW that keeps out of the way. That's the class-leading car. It's the Porsche just in front of him, car number 87. It's Leo Yi-Hong Lee, who's had great success in Fanatec GT Asia, and it's great to have that very, very elegant-looking dark green Ferrari, but it is being hunted down. In the foreground of the shot, making that mellifluous rumble, is the Mercedes of Fabian Schiller, but the battle for 5th place, oh yes, that's on, and the Ferrari is giving great chase. Naoki Yokomitsu, so much success right across the board in Southeast Asia over the years, but I think he's very much enjoying his run in the Ferrari there. And for Maezawa Racing, they're looking to land a really good result. The best result so far is a 6th, and that was in the first of 2 races last weekend at Suzuka, and certainly 5th is on the cards. Still in 6th at the moment, but hunting all the time. 2 dark green cars. One, a Porsche Leo Yi-Hong Lee, number 87, and behind him, Naoki Yokomitsu, Maezawa Racing Ferrari. And a car that's been going really, really well in the latter stages of the race. Just in the background of the shot, you can always pick it out. It's the bright acid yellow Car Guy Racing Ferrari. Kei Cozzolino, I said he'd have to pick his way up the order. He's doing just that. I think he's up into 9th place at the moment. Yes, he's in 9th because Frankie Cheng just coming through in that metallic blue Audi, the sister car of the race-leading Audi, leading this race. Still that bodywork sitting on the exit of the final corner. Part-way down, all the drivers have gone past several times. They know it's there. It's not on the racing line, so I guess quite possibly the right decision just to leave it there. In GT4, it's still looking very good, even though it was very tight in qualifying. Number 50 leading comfortably, Manabu Orido comfortably ahead. I can't quite see the gap ahead of the Czech shop K-Mania Racing Porsche. They were close in qualifying, but over the course of the race, the experience of the likes of Manabu Orido always is going to tell. One of the great beauties of GT3 racing, you can have some of the most exciting battles, might be for 12th place. This one we're looking at is slightly higher than that. Lucas Stoltz in 7th in the, there it is, the blue-fronted, white-tailed 888 Racing Mercedes up to turn 10, and being caught, I sense, no, it's very close actually between him and Frankie Chen Kongfu. An AWS Motorsport, easier to get back in the garage, but no front wings on the car. Well, we've seen some of that bodywork resting on the track at either end of the start-finish straight. I can only presume that Alessio Picariello caught the tail of the LM Corsa Ferrari to push it into that extraordinary position in the gravel bank on the exit of the final corner. The car doesn't normally go there, but in the wars, assaulted early on by the sister car from Absolute Racing Audi, Porsche. Actually, you can see some of the debris in the circuit still at that final corner, but for the championship leading car, started by Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, no points today. Stuck in the pits, not even in the top 20. Points only down to 10th place, and Maxi Goetz is in that final points paying position in the pale blue Craft Bamboo Mercedes. But this is the driver still in 2nd place, but he's being hunted down very quickly indeed. The 3rd place car is the bright orange Porsche, car number 18, Yuta Kamimura, and Fabian Schiller not too far behind him. Wait, 1, 2 in the background of the shot, waiting for the 4th car. There it is, yellow and red Mercedes, that's 4th place. But you know what? The last 2 laps have been much better for Yuta Kamimura, for Porsche Center Okazaki, than it has for Fabian Schiller. I sense Schiller having had to endure that incredibly long pit stop, 15 seconds longer at a standstill than this car that had no success penalty. I thought having got close to him, he'd pull ahead, but that's to undersell the performance of Yuta Kamimura, doing a great job. Best result is a 3rd place for Kamimura. And he wants another one of those. That was the opening race of the pair at Suzuka last weekend. And for Porsche Center Okazaki, yes, another one please, if at all possible. One quarter of the race remains. And already some of the crews know they've got a little bit of bodywork repair, hopefully not too much beyond bodywork repair, after various clashes in this race. The second of the races here at Motegi will be tomorrow, so time aplenty for that. But what I think we're sensing now is that Yuta Kamimura, as I said, 14 and a half minutes remaining, is doing his utmost to see if he can catch the car that's immediately ahead of him. The car that's immediately ahead is the car that started from pole. It's the number 29, Phantom Pro Racing Audi. Heading for the podium, surely, but not there yet. Will it be in 2nd or will it be in 3rd? Certainly the 29 Audi at the moment is in that 2nd position, but the orange Porsche is getting closer and closer. Yuta Kamimura giving chase, and suddenly Fabian Schiller's deposed the traffic that was in ahead of him. He's trying to get back into the battle as well. 2nd and 3rd and 4th. I think they'll be covered by about 3 seconds fairly soon. Oh, definitely the Porsche is hanging on very well indeed to the Audi in their battle for 2nd place. And for Phantom Pro, they looked peerless in the first half of the race. But Cao Chi has a lot to do to hang on to 2nd. Oh, as they go out of turn 9, come up the hill to turn 10. 2nd is getting caught by 3rd. 3rd is possibly being caught by 4th. There is Schiller's car in 4th place. Oh yes, now there may be, hold on to your hats, even an overtaking manoeuvre as the field goes over the crest. Oh yes, down to turn 11. This is the place that passing could happen, should happen, but will Yuta Kamimura risk it all to get 2nd place? No, he's been cautious. He's still got plenty more time to consider where to make the pass, but the ease with which he's gained 2 seconds in this battle for 2nd place on the last lap alone, and many more this time. Now he's going to take a look down into turn 1. It's not such a long straight past the pits here. And Qichao holding on. He's blocked the inside line. He's not offering the inside line but because he went in tight, he struggles to get the turning done. This gives half a chance and a much better exit from turn number 1 for the Porsche driver. Yuta Kamimura is pressing. He's only going to surely look to the outside. No, the inside's where he wants to go, not quite open enough. And all along, what's happening? Fabian Schiller in behind is closing in. Second, third and fourth, almost nose to tail. Oh, Schiller, I thought may even gain third place because a mistake there from Cauchy. He ran wide on the exit as turn 2 goes to turn 3, and no second invitation needed to be issued for Yuta Kamimura. Just couldn't get the power down in the Audi. Really unfortunate, but that's what happens if you run a little wide. You've got to bide your time until you can plant the throttle fully, and in that time, not just the Porsche going past, but the Mercedes as well. So, as I've said, the number 18 Porsche from Porsche Center Okazaki took a third place in the opening race of the pair at Suzuka last weekend, and this form is being continued here. However, and it's a big one, the gap to the race leader, to James Yu, is enough to make Andrew Haryanto smile, because their advantage at the start of the lap was 19 seconds. And I think as this lot have been scuffling over second place and had their order reversed, it's gone out to 21 seconds from James Yu leading the race and Yuta Kamimura in second place overall. Let's take a look at the pass coming again. Into turn 2, the Audi number 29 is still holding on to second place, but he turned in a little bit wide, was forced a little bit wider. Unusual to get a passing manoeuvre into turn 3, but couldn't get the power down until he got back to terra firma, back to the black stuff, back onto the tarmac. And in that time, Fabian Schiller didn't need a second invitation in the Craft Bamboo Mercedes. So it's been really successful this year. And it looks like another result is coming their way. Now for Porsche Center Okazaki, at the moment in the Japan Cup element, in GT3 Pro-Am, they are second, just 1 point down on Seijiara and Yamaguchi. But their number, Tomohide Yamaguchi, their BMW M Studio M4 GT3 is parked in the pit, so this is going to be a very, very good result that will move the Bright Orange Porsche crew to the top of the Japan Cup element of GT3 Pro-Am. Oh, the very different engine notes. That's another beauty of GT3 racing. You listen all around the world, you close your eyes and you just play that little game, guess what the manufacturer is, but there's nothing that can be mistaken for the deeper rumble of the Mercedes. Great sounding engine note against the far more sort of sharper 6-cylinder note of the Porsche up in front. In GT4, close in qualifying. Their best laps are very close indeed, but it's the Wise Racing BMW crew that have got their nose in front, kept their nose in front, and are continuing to stretch clear. So Max, or Manabu Orido, whatever you want to call him, he doesn't seem to mind, is putting clear of the 1718 Porsche with Sho Kobayashi at the wheel at the moment. But as I say, their best lap's very, very close in terms of time. But in fact, I tell you what, it's been a much, much slower lap for Kobayashi. So the second car in GT4, the remaining car in that GT4 battle, looks though it's got its problems. So we may see that slowing at the side of the circuit. Battle for second place rages on. 21.4 seconds in arrears of James Yu, who's leading this race with 8.5 minutes remaining. It's suddenly looking very good for Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. Looking comfortable. 2 cars in the top 10, because Frankie Cheng in the sister car number 13, is in 7th place. How far behind Lucas Stoltz is he? Just 1.3 seconds, so may yet get a top 6. That one's closing in as well. But this battle for second place, I think Yuta Kamimura, very, very positive going into turn 7 there, has got enough in the bag to hold off the chasing Mercedes of Fabian Schiller. But our race leader, the car covered in ducks. Now, you can play a game if you want. You can count the number of ducks on the car when you get up close. It's an awful lot. That's all you need to know. Andrew Haryanto from Indonesia kicked the race off and drove probably the best race I've seen him drive. And James Yu, young Chinese teammate, has taken the baton and absolutely charged with it. He has the best lap of the race, 1 minute 51.770 seconds. But with every further lap, he's a lap closer to the finish. With every further lap, he's extending his advantage over that second place battle between Yuta Kamimura and Fabian Schiller. He's so far clear. As they come out of the final corner, they won't be able to see him because the race leading number 11 Audi is out of sight and around turn 1, heading back behind the pits, as the other challengers are only now about to cross the start-finish line. So they have no idea where he is, but there's no way, with 7 minutes left to play in the first of 1 hour races, that he has a chance of catching up. Right, let's ride on board with Kei Cozzolino. I just mentioned Frankie Cheng running in 7th. Well, we get a chance to look at him because as they come down the straight, the metallic blue Audi's up in front. He is being caught. Certainly Kei Cozzolino's travelling just a little bit faster. Well, 6 3/4 minutes remain. That means Cozzolino should be able to get on the tail of Frankie Cheng, but Frankie's been round the block quite a few times. He's not likely to leave the door open because he wants to hold on to those points for 7th place. Would like to get up to 6th, but the driver up in front. In fact, you can see the white tail of the Mercedes in 6th. That is Lucas Stoltz. 2 wins in the bag this year, one albeit slightly fortunate when the first 13 cars at Fuji were given a time penalty and 14th place was turned into 1st. Frankie Chen, car number 13, the Audi being chased by the car guy racing Ferrari, reverted to the 488 model. This is one they raced in the Asian Le Mans series with James Collado, who's just won Le Mans just last month. Back in 2019, this is the car they raced in that series, and it clearly suits Yuta Kamimura very nicely. Now, quite a few Ferraris at the front end. Mizawa racing, number 555, Naoki Yokomitsu, now coming under pressure from Lucas Stoltz. Lights are flashing from Stoltz. If they play their cards right, they may still have time to catch the number 29 Audi that had led the race for so long in the hands of its starting driver, Kang Ling. Mizawa racing Ferrari, that's in 5th place. Lucas Stoltz, 888 JMR. Mercedes in 6th and 7th place is the Audi Sport Asia team. Absolute Audi R8 LMS of Frankie Cheng. But riding on board with Naoki Yokomitsu. He can see the driver in 4th place. He's catching the driver in 4th place. And doing a very, very good job indeed. But still in 4th is Cao Chi. Oh, they're so much closer. 1, 2, 3, 5 cars, not quite nose to tail, but they're covered by about 3 seconds. And that's the battle from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, which is Kei Cozzolino at the back of that pack. There he is in the bright yellow Ferrari. Oh, I think the race action is far from over. This is looking very good. Our race leader, he's sitting on a 21-second advantage. James Yu driving beautifully. Andrew Harrianto, no doubt, smiling in the pit lane. That's not likely to change. So far clear of Yuta Kamimura. Yuta's kept on his toes by Fabian Schiller in the battle for 2nd, but 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and just 8th in the background of the shot. That's Cao Chi, Yokomitsu, Stoltz, Cheng, and Cozzolino. Maxi Gertz is running just a short distance, about 4 seconds back in 9th. And Liu Yihong Li, the number 87, R&B Racing, the green Porsche tucked away. Now, tighter and tighter. Problems for Yokomitsu, side by side. Mercedes puts its nose in front. Excuse me. At turn 10, you need to be doing the passing on the inside, but the Mercedes got the grunt going all the better out than the Ferrari did out of turn 10. It looks as though Stoltz yet again has pulled off a manoeuvre that results in a place gain. That is why the 888 Racing team likes him so much. Neat, tidy, and there I was, oh me of little faith, saying you don't go around the outside and gain a position, but he managed to get a far better exit speed from turn 10 and use that all the way, that marginal advantage down the longest straight on the circuit down to turn 11, the passing manoeuvre long before the corner. So we're now looking from Yokomitsu's Ferrari at the car that was behind him at the start of the lap. That is Lucas Stoltz. Both those cars in that battle struggling to get near the turning point for the corner, so the Pirelli rubber on these cars has been worked and worked very hard indeed. Will there be any more place changes in behind? Well, certainly the Audi's lost loads of position there And Ki Chao has gone from the head of the pack to the back of the pack. So that's been a major positional change. All the chasing cars, including Kei Cozzolino, have deposed him. So the order is James Yu with 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock. 21 seconds clear of the battle for second between Yuta Kamimura and Fabian Schiller. Now this is 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th and 8th, but with a different order. Lucas Stoltz up to 4th for Triple Eight Racing. Up to 5th is down to 5th is Yokomizo, Frankie Cheng in 6th for Audi, and Kei Cozzolino tucked in behind. Yusuke Yamasaki in another Ferrari. This is Comet Racing. This is last year's championship winning car. He's running 4th in the GT3 AM class. Ahead of him is car number 3. That's the Climax Racing Mercedes, and it's Bian Yi on board that. And ahead of him in second place in GT3 AM is Tadeu Uematsu, who drives his McLaren in both halves of the race, the only solo driver, and leading GT3 AM in 15th place overall is Mineki Akura. Now the GT4 leader sitting comfortably ahead of the 718 Porsche is Max Arrido. Their lap times were relatively similar, but for Kobayashi, he just did a really, really slow lap. 8 seconds and a bit more down on Arrido, so really with nothing left, a minute left on the clock, it's in the bag. Another class win for Wise Racing with their M4 GT4. They've already got, didn't do the opening race in Buriram in Thailand. They were disqualified from the second race at Fuji, but other than that, they won the first race at Fuji in class, and likewise took the class victory in both the races last weekend at Suzuka. So the points are coming in thick and fast. But our race leader, surely it's just sat on 21 seconds, 21.5 seconds, back to 21 seconds, but out of turn 10 for the final time at racing speed. Down the slope they will come. And Andrew Haryanto, who got up to second place early on from 3rd on the grid, handed the car over in second place, but their pit stop and the in and the out from that was clearly better than the Phantom Pro Racing number 29 Audi. And here we go. 4, 3, got to slow down or you have to do another lap. Oh, squeaked in, I think, or has he got one further lap to do? Just waiting for confirmation. Well, it looks as though there was 0 seconds left on the clock. We'll keep an eye on that, but powering away. Another good lap for James Yu, building on the work of Andrew Haryanto. 21 seconds are good. Yuta Kamimura running in second place overall. He's cemented that because the charging Fabian Schiller is still behind him, still by that similar margin in third place. Second and third together in sight of each other, but Porsche Zenza Okazaki will be landing their best result of the year. They've had a third before. This will lead to a second place for them. So it has been a race of incident, it has been a race of overtaking, place changing, and a few little incidents haven't helped the hopes of some teams, particularly for Absolute Racing with their Porsche crew. It hasn't been glory because they collided, and that really hampered their chances. But for their Audi charges, at the moment, we're looking at the car that's going to win this race most certainly. It's car number 11, James Yu. He's only got 4 more corners to go. Turns 11, he's approaching that at the bottom of the hill. James Yu down the slope, neat, tidy, no need to press on. Still 21 and a bit seconds to good. Under the second underpass for the final time at racing speed. Back out into the sunlight here. Turns 12, 13, and now this is the final turn. Turn 14. Is the tail wagging the dog? No, but it's a very, very happy dog indeed. And what a great run. So delight for Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. They've got it right, and the other side of the garage, the Porsche side, hasn't had the smile today. The pace has been there, but some of the bodywork is sitting there in the track, so they've had their clashes. AMAC Motorsport Porsche coming through at the back of the shot there. Ben Porter going to finish the 22nd, but the battle for second is sorted in the favour of Yuta Kamimura for Porsche Center Okazaki. Fabian Schiller having to make do with third place behind him. The car that's coming second in GT4, there it is, car number 718, crossing the start-finish line. So they'll put some useful points in the bag, but their class was won by their rivals, with Manabu Orido completing that. Any further place changes? No, looks neat and tidy behind. Naoki Okamitsu coming home very tidily in 5th place, having been passed by Lucas Stoltz. Frankie Cheng takes 6th, Kei Cosolino 7th. There is our GT4 winner today. That makes it 4 class wins, not in succession, because there was 1 disqualification and then 2 more class wins for the BMW crew from Wise Racing. But the day belonged to this car, this Audi, the white Audi, covered in myriad ducks. Unusual race livery, very popular race livery, and I would suggest this will be a very popular win, particularly for those near the front end of the championship, because it hasn't been a good season so far for the number 11 Audi crew of Haryanto and Yu. They're not in the top 6 in the championship, but this will certainly put them into the mix. And for all those front-running drivers who didn't get to score today, like championship leader Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, if they're not scoring, they don't want any of their immediate points rivals to score. So someone who's come from maybe a little bit left field, hasn't had the form so far this year, suddenly discovers it here on Motegi. A different circuit does things in a different way. Then that's very good, because if you don't score points, you don't want your closest rivals to be picking them up while you're collecting nothing. But absolute hats-off performance by Andrew Haryanto, who started this white Audi from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute, and James Yu, who finished it off. That is a big, big result for the pair. So into the pit lane for a second time. The first was for the driver change from Haryanto to Yu. This time, however, he's going to be driving behind the pit building as long as he follows the directions, because Parc Fermé is behind the pit lane, in the paddock behind, and right next to the podium that's been built up in a very attractive site surrounded by trees and a circuit cafeteria in behind. And I was watching one of the support races. It certainly looked very good indeed for that. So expect someone to be signalling to our race winner to go through an archway. There is the archway to Parc Fermé at the back, and you can hear a little ripple of applause down the pit lane. And there is number 1, and there is number 11, our race winner. So very well done indeed for Andrew Haryanto and James Yu. They should be delighted. Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute started the season not with the Audi R8 seeming to be the car to challenge, but it's very much come into its own here, and the team straight in to applaud him. And the young Chinese driver, first he is, and look, prowling in quietly behind him, ready to give him a hug. Andrew Haryanto, and a well-deserved result for the pair of them. Smiles all round. All the top 3 cars in the Pro-Am class. The top silver crew, after all that sorting out, was the number 29 Audi from Phantom Pro Racing that started on pole, dropped back after Kang Ling's opening stint to 9th overall, so that the silver class does at least go their way. They were only 1 position ahead of the other silver class car, with Liu Yihong Li just a short distance back. But this is GT racing at its best. 3 manufacturers in the top 3 positions. Audi, Porsche from Porsche Center Okazaki, and Craft Bamboo Racing with their Mercedes. In behind, the GT4 class winner from Wise Racing with their BMW, and they'll be joined by Czech shop Kmania Racing with their Porsche. But a race of huge intrigue, and it came out with, I think, a truly deserving duo winning it outright. Andrew Haryanto and James Yu. And GT3 AM, by the way, class victory went in 13th place overall to the number 19 entry. That was the sole Lamborghini, the spirit of FFF Racing. The driver who started, Hiroshi Hamaguchi, got up to 4th place. But let's go down and join the winners. Amy's down there with James Yu, and in the middle, I think it will be a very happy Andrew Haryanto.
James, congratulations on this win. All you had to do is 1 overtake and just cruise. It was 20 seconds to the behind car. How does it feel? How does the win feel?
First of all, it's an absolutely amazing feeling to be on the top of the podium at GT World Challenge Asia. first of all, I have to thank my teammate for doing an amazing qualifying session and putting the car right at the front of the grid for the start. And yeah, all I had to do was just manage everything and yeah, bring the car home. It feels amazing. Thank you to Audi Sport Asia and Absolute Racing. They've done an amazing job this weekend.
Fantastic job, Andrew. It is the first win for Audi this season. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You did also do a perfect job. You brought the car back safely despite everything what happened on track. How do you feel with this win?
Satisfied, I guess. Was the only job I had to do. Just stay on track.
No, but it was really an amazing job. A super, super nice race. Congratulations to you guys again and celebrate well. Back to you.
Well, I hope that Andrew Haryanto does realise that he didn't just cruise and collect. He did an astonishing first half of the race and built a lovely cushion there that was immediately extended by James Yu. So they both had a role to play in that run. And for Audi, they will be very, very happy indeed. Back on track here in Fanatec Asia GT Racing. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But let's look back at what happened in the 1 hour of racing. Plenty. Looking back at the highlights, the first of 2 races here at Motegi. It was a clean start from Kang Ling in the 29 Audi from Phantom Pro Racing, but a brilliant start from 3rd to 2nd, albeit hitting the curbs. Andrew Haryanto going past Jinlong Bao, and then those 2 absolute Porsches settled into 3rd and 4th position with Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, the championship leader, in behind. Talking of behind, his behind was clipped by his teammate. He just moved ahead, and unfortunately Jinlong Bao, civil war, but this was a far bigger moment. Chris Onchia taking out both of the R&B Racing Porsches. He picked up a drive-through penalty for that, but didn't get back as far as that at all. The car was damaged and out of the race. The sister car, however, was being driven beautifully by Kang Ling. But as the first stint went on, the gap went out a little bit, but it came back to just 3 seconds as he was hunted down by Andrew Haryanto. And then immediately after the pit stops, the number 11 car went ahead. That was James Yu. He picked off the 29 car, and Cao Chi could do nothing about it. In fact, he would fall to an eventual 9th place overall. Still took class victory in the silver class. But coming up the order all the time, Yuta Kamimura, the number 18 Porsche Center Okazaki Porsche, being challenged very hard indeed by the Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes of Fabian Schiller. That had extra time at the pit stop, but it was a battle for about 6th place downwards that became very, very muscular indeed. The Mizawa Racing Ferrari hanging on with Naoko Yokomitsu, being hunted all the time by Lucas Stoltz. Frankie Cheng in the mix as well. It was close, it was exciting, and turn 11 was where it all happened. Unless they'd had an assault up at turn 10, there'd been plenty of those. But as it went to the finish, hanging the tail out a little bit, wagging the tail of the dog, a very happy dog, and it was James Yu taking victory, first blood to Audi here at Motegi. So in the unusual position of having the podium in the paddock rather than out overlooking the circuit. In fact, it's very nice in the shade of the trees here, just waiting for all the ceremonies to be undertaken. And it's certainly true that a lovely, look, dappled shade over the podium there. We're going to have some very happy faces up there because the usual suspects have not come home with the big points. It's great to have a change, a stirring of the pot. And there is the winning car today from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. Just waiting as Amy Izawa is the mistress of ceremonies and will be calling the drivers up for the overall podium.
Welcome with big applause on third place, car number 37, Anthony Yusu and Fabian Schiller.
2 wins in the bag already for Anthony Liu and Fabian Schiller, but if you're not winning, you've got to collect the points. They had 15 seconds extra at the pit lane. They've served that. They'll have 5-second extras tomorrow, but this is what winning a championship could be all about. Be consistent. 2nd place at the end. They worked hard, they pushed. Porsche Center Okazaki, Hiraki Nagai and Yuta Kamimura. But to the top step, James Yu leads it out. Andrew Haryanto brings it home for Audi Sport Asia. Reverse positions, that was their order coming up onto the podium, but smiles all round. So Audi from Porsche from Mercedes, just how GT3 racing should be, as the manufacturers all are given a shot at victory. But this was a circuit that provided a lot of incident today, and certainly the drivers will be thinking about it as they consider what may happen tomorrow. And of course the running order is different, the grid is different. The pros in the Pro-Am lineups go first tomorrow. and hand over to the AMs, whereas this morning, here, today, it was the AMs who went first. So it's always a different mix, but right now it's about getting those points in the bag, and all these three crews have done that. And now the winners' trophies, the golden ones to the drivers on the top step. Andrew Haryanto and the driver in the white overalls, James Yu. Well, great to see the happy faces. The thumb up from Andrew Haryanto there, the driver from Indonesia, and a big smile, waiting. Driver's always getting a little hasty, wanting to get to spraying the champagne, but right now it's for the photographers who are here in great numbers, holding the trophies aloft, waiting for the signal. Let's hope they've got a spare set of overalls, because they never smell very nice after the champagne, but it's celebration time for our drivers on the top step. With James Yu and Andrew Haryanto, and the drivers from Porsche Center Okazaki, Yuta Kamimura, Hiroaki Nagai remain on the podium, getting out of the spray down below. You can see the red and yellow overalls of Anthony Liu, and Fabian Schiller will be down there as well. First points of this visit here at Motegi, and certainly I think it's been a great addition to the Fanatec GT Asia series. Another race tomorrow, but points in the bag for those top three crews. 25 points for victory, 18 for second place, 15 for third. And the points go all the way down to 10th place. Car that finished 10th was car number 87, by the way, R&B Racing, which was the second car in the Silver Cup. Just to let you know, the top 8 positions filled by cars with a Pro-Am lineup. That was the Am that went first and the Pro that brought it home. But for Absolute Racing's Porsche crews, including championship leader Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, it's a big round 0. That's a setback they didn't want. And bear in mind, he just moved up into third place when he was clattered into by his own teammate. That was the start of decline for the 911 Porsche from Absolute Racing. Now what we're doing, we're looking at the AM podium. There's Tadeo Uematsu, the McLaren driver who drove all on his own, coming out onto the podium. The number 3 crew up there already, that's Huyuki and Bianyi, but onto the top step, striding with great vigour, Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Mineki Akura. That's the car that got a 15-place grid penalty, but yet still fought through to come home in top of the AM class in 15th place overall. So Lamborghini, McLaren and Mercedes, again the great mix of cars and manufacturers. And GT3 AM class winners went from 15th place pretty much all the way down. We had unfortunately the 360 Nissan didn't get to finish, but pretty much they were nose to tail, the others in class. And in fact, at the end, Mineki Akura hung on in that Lamborghini to win by just half a second. So first that overall podium, which was also the Pro-Am podium. Then this is the GT3 AM podium, and the spray. Fastest fingers first, it was car number 3, it was Climax Racing. Uyuki and Bianyi first to get the bubbly flying. So the music rings out, the sun shines, and here at Motegi it's been really intriguing. Let's take a look at the final results. James Yu and Andrew Haryanto taking victory eventually by nearly 22 seconds. A great win for Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. Second place, Porsche Center Okazaki, Yuta Kamimura, Hiroaki Nagai. Third manufacturer in third place, the Mercedes, Fabian Schiller, Anthony Liu for Craft Bamboo Racing. But scoring points yet again. No win here today for Lucas Stoltz and Abu Bakr Ibrahim. But they took the points for fourth place, whereas the championship leader, Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak and Alessio Picariello, 0 points for them. The championship table is rotating, it's changing. So it's goodbye from me, Bruce Jones, and we will be back tomorrow, and it's going to be a different stirring of the pot, but this circuit provides. If the race can be as exciting today, we're all winners. podium, and it's GT4 podium, and it's the team from Wise Racing, BMW M Team Studi, and for its drivers, Masaki Kano on the left and Manabu Orido on the right. And our two runners in GT4, the winning crew there, the BMW crew, are the Silver Am lineup, and the Am lineup, quite hard to say, of 718 Czech Shop K-Mania Racing. They took second in the GT4, but they were first in their own class, which was the Am lineup in GT4. They will get their podium as well. So that's Naohiko Otsuka and Sho Kobayashi, who looked so promising in qualifying. But when we got to the race, the finest plume of champagne so far, sprayed by Orido up on the podium. Another good result for the M4 GT4. And certainly the smiles abroad up there, the victory salute from Wise Racing as well, and a bright green bow tie. Why not? Well, you could ask yourself, why? And again, I must say, this podium down at sort of people height, I think works very well indeed. So it's just in behind the main control building here in the paddock, but a different twist, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. More champagne goes on the top step, and that's because we've got the other class of GT4. It's the GT4 Am entry, which is Czech Shop K-Mania Racing. They were second in GT4, but first in their class today. And Amy Izawa about to bring them up onto the podium. Good points, and it's Naohiko Otsuka who's up first, and Sho Kobayashi going up second. They enjoyed their time when they really ran their rivals very close indeed in qualifying. I think they've really stepped up this weekend at Motegi. And certainly Sho Kobayashi in the dark blue overalls gave a lot of praise after qualifying to Naohiko Otsuka for doing really good tyre development work and getting a good setup. It's shown, but over the course of the race they didn't have the speed to match the GT4 BMW, but they take their class win. GT4 Am. Smiles, thumbs up, that's what racing's all about. They've got to do it all over again tomorrow. They will not be complaining. This is a circuit that I think really suits GT3 and GT4 racing very, very well indeed. So a light breeze, most welcome for the drivers. It's been a warmish afternoon here at Motegi. And it looks though Otsuka doesn't think there's going to be enough spray. Yes, he's got that bottle fully loaded. And smiles all round. GT4 Am winners here in the first race at Motegi. Naohiko Otsuka and Sho Kobayashi. The victory dance. So we've got to do it all again tomorrow. Of course, the drivers who started race 1 will be the drivers who go second in race 2. And let's see how it all shakes out. But that's it from us here at Motegi today. But we're going to have a look back at the highlights. Certainly, it was a question of what you didn't leave in. There was so many highlights. Brilliant start from Kang Ling, pole position, Phantom Pro Racing, Audi. The Porsche on the outside the front row with Zhao Bin Long should have been in second place, but Andrew Harrianto wasn't taking no for an answer. Went up the inside into turn 1, got into second place, and then the two Absolute Racing Porsches tucked in behind in third and fourth. The driver in fourth, the championship leader, Vutthikorn Inthraphuvasak, started 7th, just got up into third and was clattered by his own teammate down at turn 2. That was nothing though. Chris Onchier got it completely wrong into turn 11 and took out both of the R&B Racing Porsches, and under a cloud of embarrassment parked his own car under the bridge, was out of the race. The sister car, however, for Phantom Pro, was flying. 3 and a bit seconds clear. The last car really to come in and serve a pit stop, but there was a better run in and out of the pits, definitely out of the pits, because the number 11 crew went to the front. James Yu quickly going past Cao Chi, and unfortunately for the 29 Audi, that was a case of them dropping back down into the pack. Here they are being hunted by Yuta Kamimura towards the end of the race, and that was a change of position. Second became third. At the same time, it became fourth because Fabian Schiller was making a move around the outside in the Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes. And then he got hunted yet more. The Maizawa Racing Ferrari going up the inside. That's Naoki Yokomizo. And then Lucas Stoltz hunting as well. And it really was all one-way traffic. Frankie Cheng in the bright blue Audi going past Chi as well. And then this was a move where Lucas Stoltz was not to be denied. So 2 wins already with him and Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, and that was a move that would garner more points. Ended up in 4th overall, but there was no debating the winner. Nearly 22 seconds clear. James Yu building on the building block provided by Andrew Harrianto, up to the pit wall to wave to his crews, taking the checkered flag, no one else in sight. So first blood here at Motegi, and very, very impressively. So that is the action out of the way for Saturday. But let's just take a look back at the results. So many things occurred in that race. But at the end, 22 seconds clear. Audi Sport Asia, Team Absolute. Andrew Harrianto started it, and James Yu definitely finished it. 22-second advantage over Yuta Kamimura and Hiroaki Nagai, always impressive in their Porsche Center Okazaki entry. And Fabian Schiller and Anthony Liu, another top result for them, despite having extra pit stop penalty time. They sucked up 15 seconds and still came home in third place overall, just ahead of Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, one of the two racing princes from Johor, and Lucas Stoltz again banking good points. Great to see the Mizawa Racing Ferrari up in 5th place overall. Piti Birombakti driving well in the first half of the race. Noki Yokomiso looking very, very competitive in the second pass. And the second of the two cars from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute, Frankie Cheng, building on the work of Jingsu Sun, coming home in 6th overall. So look at those manufacturers. Audi from Porsche, from Mercedes, Mercedes, Ferrari, Audi, Mercedes, Mercedes, Audi and Porsche. Plenty spread across the top 10 positions. And the winners in GT3 AM in 15th place overall in their Lamborghini. So we still have one more race here at Motegi, and that will get us to the 3/4 point distance in the Japan Cup across 4 rounds in Japan. The next round will be in a month's time, 4 weeks' time, at Okayama International Circuit, and then the season finale of Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia will be Sepang in Malaysia at the last weekend, or the penultimate weekend of September. It's going to be tight all the way to the finish. So that's it. That's goodbye from me today, and I'm really looking forward to what tomorrow will bring here at Motegi. Thanks very much for watching.